The city that hosted the Copa America final last weekend. He is back amongst the sun, the sand, and the palm trees. And he deserves to be one of the hardest working men in show business. Our good friend, the voice of the Sacramento Kings, Mark Jones. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Dave. Man, I hope it goes better for the World Cup when they have one of the venues here. You know, you mentioned the Copa. I'm like, yeah. I've seen some wild stuff in South Florida through my 30-odd years here, but that was up there. That was top 20.
Top 20.
At least top 30, yeah.
I got to ask you.
That's the amount of wild stuff, yeah.
I don't want to tell tales out of school with our off-air communication, but I just, you'll know where I'm going here. Mark, do you sleep ever?
Man, I tell you what, a little CBD at night to put me back on schedule is always a good thing. It takes care of the inflammation in the joints, in my knees, and in my lower back, which has 4 screws in it. So therapeutically, it works for me, and that's what I use, because I looked at my Apple Watch data, and I actually did okay. I got like 7 hours. I averaged 7 hours of sleep last week. I don't know how it's summer league. I really don't know how. I'm not sure if the data is accurate, but sleeping is a challenge.
I was going to say,
it definitely is.
Just some of the times where you'll commute, you and I all text, and then I'll get a text back from you at a random time. And I always think, God dang, Mark, like hit a pillow or something.
I'm coming from Denny's, getting the number 2 combo special, then going home, right? To sleep.
You got to experience summer league as you have for many, many years. It is hot. It is Vegas. It is summertime, but it really has kind of turned into a bit of a basketball mecca. I think it was you that I was talking with not that long ago, that underneath the baskets on the sideline is maybe the most powerful group of basketball influencers. One might you just take a walk and there's Daryl Morey. The late Jerry West would always be around. You see Larry Bird and some other executive having a conversation, and if you just sit with your foot on the wall and watch the basketball and keep your ears open, you never know what you're going to hear working that club. Yeah,
it's for me, it's like Christmas in July. I've been to pretty much all 20 in Las Vegas, and the real essence of it for me is to be able to, like you mentioned, run into some of the league executives, the team front offices, general managers, coaches, players. I like to, work the hotel lobby at the Wynn and at, some of the other hotels to meet people and just have great conversations and get caught up with folks. And, this year's a little different because Jerry West isn't there. And every time I walked by that baseline seat that he always occupied, he was sitting there. I think it's the 5th chair in, with a big cup of Dairy Queen, a milkshake that he always had. But no, it's fun, man. It's fun. I went to a fantastic event a few nights ago with a group of coaches, and Mike was there. With some of the people that he'd mentored through the years. It was fun. It was really fun. It's a great time, and the games have been exciting. To see the top picks do their thing, and just the stories, man. I think about Duncan Robinson coming there maybe 5-6 years ago, and lighting it up, and became ultimately the highest paid non-drafted player in the NBA.
Well, you got we were just talking about, who was it yesterday? Mike James. You remember Mike James? I go to Summer League. God, he lit it up. Not that he didn't have an NBA career. Of course he did. But Mike James, you've got these Summer League legends, man, that always stand out that you don't really see unless you're down there experiencing it. Yeah.
I did a game Golden State, and I forget who it was, Golden State in Portland the other night. And Marquise Plowden for the Warriors, he had one really fantastic game. And I was telling Doris during one of the commercial breaks, like, this guy's going to get shut down tomorrow. You watch. He won't show up for the game. We'll see him sitting in the stands wondering what's up, only to find out that he signed a contract with somebody. It happens that quickly. I remember it happened that way with Terrence Davis, who did a little time with us in Sacramento, had one good game for the Denver Nuggets, and then boom, signed a deal like in the middle of the night with the Toronto Raptors, and went on to have a career. There's a bunch of other stories like that that are a lot of fun, and it's nice to see the genesis of it unfold right in front of you. There's nothing like it.
So Mark Jones, voice of the Kings, joining us. We haven't talked on the air since the end of last season, and really would love to get your thoughts. DeMar DeRozan, a Compton kid, but also a Toronto kid at one point, and I know there's that Canada connection. Plus, you've called plenty of his games. So when you heard that he's going to slide in, you would assume at the 2, perhaps the 3, and the Kings grabbed him, arguably the greatest free agent they've ever signed, certainly the best that they've signed since Vlade Divac. What were your thoughts on that?
Man, just that it's going to be a great fit. He's a 25, 24 point per game scorer. I think that his ability to handle and be a playmaker, averaging almost, between 5 and 6 assists a game, is really going to help our offense and supercharge that even more. And for me, there's 2 things that really capture the essence of him. 3, actually. He's a fantastic teammate. Nobody around I've been covering this league for 34 years. I'm in the locker rooms. I'm in the summertime gyms watching these guys work out. Nobody has ever said a bad foul word about DeMar DeRozan as a teammate. 2, Dave, he doesn't miss games.
Yeah.
The guy's played like 90-something% of the games in his career. And in this day and age, that kind of availability can be rare. And then 3, anytime you have a guy at the end of the shot clock that can go get his own, it's priceless, especially in the mid-range, because that's where the secret sauce is in the postseason. A lot of times you're not going to be able to get to the rim. A lot of times people are going to take away the 3-point shot, but he's a guy that has been really a mid-range maestro through the years. And, when it comes to the last 5 minutes of the ball game, now we have both he and Fox that can go get their own buckets, because they were, over the last couple of years, both in the top 5 in fourth quarter scoring. So, all that added up, I think works for Sacramento, works for us. And defensively, it's going to take some tweaks, because if you think about it, Harrison Barnes was wonderful. He was a lot of those things too, but, he defensively guarded a lot of force at the other end. He was guarding LeBron. He was guarding Karl Anthony Towns. He took a lot of tough assignments. So it doesn't make us positionally longer or bigger, but man, if you add up the whole package, it's a plus with DeMar DeRozan. And he's got tremendous experience in the postseason too.
Mark Jones with us. It's funny you mentioned Harrison Barnes, because anyone who ever has been around Harrison Barnes, it's a similar thing. And I was actually looking at the similarities with my head tilted a little between DeMar and Harrison Barnes, in the sense that you've never heard a bad word out of either of them. They're both leaders, but in a completely kind of different way. They're both locker room guys. And then, Harrison, and there were some limitations obviously last year with him, and we all understand that, but even on the offensive end was so often the guy that would plug the drain. The other team's on an 18-4 run, and Harrison draws a foul and slows it down. And it feels like in some aspects, DeMar is also strong in those same categories Barnes was, just a little bit stronger across the board, of course, with the exception of defense, like you said. Right.
He, the other thing is too, that I didn't mention, is DeMar DeRozan gets to the free throw line quite a bit. And, Hubie Brown always taught me through the years that, if you can get to the line 6 or 7 times a game, 8 times a game, you're doing great things for your team, because now you score and you get to set your defense. And, our defense took an exponential leap last year, and that'll help it even that much more incrementally to improve. Might even might be top 12 next year, top 10. Who knows?
So the other free agent sort of was Malik Monk. And, a lot of times people look at retaining free agents and say, okay, well, that, including me, say, well, that's not the same as DeRozan, who could have gone anywhere. I feel like in Malik's case, though, it's almost double because not only could he have gone anywhere, but he could have made more money at a number of different places because of this apron and the whole cap situation. So the Kings were actually technically at a disadvantage financially in trying to re-sign him, and he still doesn't go for the 1-year opt-out deal for the full bird rights, doesn't go with a 2-year mini contract. He goes for the full $478 and really, in effect, kind of took a discount to stay here. So from a culture standpoint, Mark, and you've been around the league forever, you know all about Kings and Sacramento culture and historically lack thereof. It certainly seems like those two spots, DeRozan and Monk, both have really sent a signal to the NBA that there's something going on here.
Yeah, I think that really says that Sacramento's more of a destination, perhaps, for players who are free agents than people might perceive it to be. And I think Mike Brown continues to, alchemize the culture, and that's part of it. Now that, Monty can go out there in the future and say, hey, look, DeMar DeRozan decided to come here. Hey, look, Malik Monk decided to stay. I think that there are times where, Sacramento doesn't appear to be that, but, winning, I think, fixes some of that. And, I know that Malik could have gotten more money elsewhere. And here's the thing in free agency, too, with him is, you have to get your fit. And it's a great fit in Sacramento for him. And there's a lot of times where, front offices around the league will acquire a player in a trade or free agency. The front office may like the guy, but the coach may not vibe with the guy. I think that the way that Mike Brown and Malik have, established a very unique relationship, and whether Malik starts, whether he comes off the bench, Malik is going to get his minutes, and Mike really believes in him. And I think that more than anything was a big part of it. The second component of Malik coming back, I know, was Jay Triano. I can remember Malik telling me at one point. Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I'm into the dog now, Mark.
Malik's got a lot of dog in him. My Doberman started barking when I said Malik's name. That's one of our commands. That's one of our ghetto bras said. Yeah, Malik. Malik means king. Rasta, yeah. He's all excited now. Down.
That's great.
Good boy, yeah, on cue. You think we planned that, But Malik told me, had it not been for Jay Triano, who's still on my staff, by the way, had it not been for Jay Triano, I would have lost my mind in Charlotte, and I would have never made it that far. So when Malik looks down the bench, no matter how dark times may be, and it's worth the incremental financial sacrifice, no matter how dark it may be, he knows he's got two guys that are 10 toes down with him that are going to ride with him forever in terms of Jay Triano and Mike Brown. And that's worth a lot of money too,
Last thing for you, Mark Jones, voice of the Kings. People are asking in the on the text line. We always get these questions, and maybe it's too early to ask you. I know we'll talk to you before the season starts, but how's your schedule looking like this year? How much of Mark Jones are we going to see? And as usual, I always think of you as like the announcer version of a big ham steak surrounded by dogs being pulled everywhere. How's your year looking?
It's shaping up right now. I'll have a better idea in the next couple of weeks, but my ambition is to do as many as I can, like 50-ish,
okay.
like it was in years 1, 2, and 3, to get back to that number. Pretty much most of the games. We had, I think, 67 that were televised last year when you take out all the TNT and ABC games, national ones. So yeah, that's my ambition, is to do that. And, I think it's looking pretty good. I'm going to try and do that.
Mark, are we going into year 4 or 5 for you? With
unbelievable. Year 5 already.
Wow.
Dave. Yeah, man. Yeah.
That just hit me.
I know. It was great being up in Sacramento for the California Classic, man. I got to hit all my spots. I got to hit, Medici. I got to hit all my foodie spots. Alora. What else? My smoothie bowl place down in Midtown, Crepeville. Yeah, when I get in town, man, I got to triple up on the workouts, because, that's another thing I like to, I get in a lot of fights about Sacramento. I'm ready to hit some people in the face, throw some hands, because when I hear that, Sacramento doesn't have this, Sacramento doesn't have that, I'm like, come on, man. You haven't been hanging out in the right spots, because I can show you, and I just got there 4 years ago, and I found them. There are a couple deserts out there in the NBA.
Sure.
Sacramento's not one of them. Trust me on that. In terms of flavor and places you can go, food, culture, diversity, wine country. Come on, man.
Oh, speaking of, I know you and I are always talking about things to do together. I was thinking about this the other day. I'll say it on the air. If you have time before, Mark, have you been out to the Corbel Winery out in Guerneville yet? Have you taken that tour? Okay.
No,
I was thinking about you. We were out there a couple weeks ago because I know we've talked about this. Got to get you out there.
I'd love to.
It is the most insane thing ever. The tour is great. You know me, I'm not a huge drinker, but in that case, there's nothing like a little champagne. And they've got we picked up a bottle of this Merlot base. It's red. It's a red champagne that is, it's fan-freaking-tastic. They have a Riesling, a Merlot version called the Rouge. So I was thinking I'd run that by you off the air, but I'm doing it on the air now. We got to try to fit that in.
I'm all about the wineries, man. And wifey and I went down to a spot near Napa. And, did the wine tasting and did the spa treatment too. Did one of those black lava exfoliations.
Yep.
It was, hey, man, I'm a little bougie, Dave. I can do that, know.
That's fine. You know your way. You know your way around the fashion world. You got to keep the skin nice and neat. I got you. You're a TV guy.
I had the cucumbers on my eyelids,
right?
Man. That worked for me.
That's the difference.
All these late nights,
yeah. The TV guy is getting the lava rock treatment, and the radio guy over here's face looks like a lava rock. So that's the difference, everybody, between radio guy and TV guy. Mark's pretty, and I'm the guy that stands behind him. So appreciate you. Have fun out in Miami. You deserve the time off, and before you know it, you'll be in preseason mode and. Then it's off to the races for you. We can't wait to see you back out here.
Can't wait to be back in town and have the season start up. It's going to be a great year, Dave. Keep up the fantastic work.
Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you soon, Mark.
You got it.
See you. Bye. Mark Jones, voice of the Sacramento